Oh, and given the chance, how many people would say no to saving a life? We're not talking about grand heroics like running into a burning building. It's simply saying yes when asked if you want to become an organ donor. That simple three-letter word can save as many as 8 lives. And here to inspire you, we have Dr. Kenneth Washburn, Executive Director of the Comprehensive Transplant Center at OSU's Wexner Medical Center. So I want to welcome you to Daytime, Dr. Washburn.
Thanks very much for having me.
So let's first start out. We hear all these numbers when it comes to organ donation. So what exactly is the need? How many people are on the list today?
So there's approximately 120,000 patients that are on the list awaiting an organ of some type for transplant.
And that's it. There are a lot of different organs, different needs that we have there. So are there enough donors to meet that big number?
Short answer is no. There's far short in terms of donors that are needed to supply the recipients on the waiting list.
So how many per year are happening? How many last year actually got that transplant they needed?
There's roughly close to 30,000 patients that are transplanted, maybe a little bit less, a little bit more depending upon the year. So you can see there's a big discrepancy between the number that are waiting and the number that actually get transplanted.
So living donors, something we're going to talk about, because that's an option that people don't always realize, is that it doesn't have to be after a tragedy where you are able to give a donation. So how many of those transplants were from living donors? Do we know?
It's certainly a smaller percentage, but it's not insignificant. Probably 5,000 or so, and the vast majority of those are kidney donors, although you can donate a portion of your liver in certain circumstances, but the vast majority of living donation is with kidneys. We have 2, and we can often live with just 1. We only transplant 1 kidney.
And how is that for somebody out there who may think, well, you know, what's the process like? Do I want to go through that? Because it is a surgery. We know that. So if somebody says, I'm willing to do this, what is the procedure?
Well, first they have to be willing.
Yeah,
right?
that's first and foremost.
Absolutely the first thing, and everybody who does this is a hero in my eyes, for sure. They have to be evaluated to see if they are medically and socially acceptable to be a donor. And then it is often a loved one or family friend that's a donor, but they don't have to be necessarily. It could be what we call altruistic donors, people who want to give for the greater good. So they would then go through that evaluation, and if they're termed to be an acceptable donor and they have some medical evaluation, then they can proceed with the surgery.
And it is simple to get on the list. We have, of course, the website up on screen right now. You go there, you can become a registered organ donor, and then if the need is there, they can call you, right? And then you come in, go through the testing to see if you fit.
Correct. For
the living donor portion,
well, for living donor is separate from being on the through the registry.
Okay.
So if you want to be a living donor, you can sign up to be on the registry, but that would be if you become a typical brain dead donor,
Okay.
as opposed to a living donor. The living donors are often come through the transplant programs, and so they're identified as part of when a recipient becomes on the waiting list. They may have family friends who come forward and say, I'd like to be evaluated to be a donor. Or sometimes it's altruistic, like I said, somebody who wants to donate for their own personal or for societal good.
Right, and that is something that, I mean, you cannot probably put into words what that means to have somebody say, I'm willing to do this for a complete stranger. But it happens, and it's probably an incredible thing to see when these people are matched up, isn't it?
It's dramatic, very dramatic.
Dramatic in a good way, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we're careful about, because we have to ensure that their motivations are sincere and there's no underlying things that are compelling them to do something that is beyond altruism. So,
okay.
But you know, we're careful about that.
And let's talk about the OSU. Obviously, is an advanced academic medical center, and their position to really provide these transplants in every way, shape, and form. And why is that?
So at Ohio State, we have a very comprehensive transplant center that encompasses every single organ: heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas. And then we do some other things that are a little bit on the fringe of that as well. So within the context of that broad center, we also have surgeons that are specialized. We have medical physicians that are specialized in the care across the whole spectrum. And we work as a comprehensive team. That's why it's the comprehensive center. And so we're not isolated in a specific area, but we work together to ensure the best outcome for our patients.
All right, Dr. Washburn, we have those websites up on screen so somebody can register, learn more about all that we talked about today. I want to thank you for being with me.
Thanks very much for having me.